In the fourth of these videos, we have a look at the terminal station, which, as you can see, is over the double-tracked loop. I started by trying to lay out the geometry, which is quite interesting when you have a combination of double slips, crossovers and turnouts. Having got the basic geometry laid out, and I used AnyRail to help me plan the layout, then it was a matter of laying down the tracks and beginning to glue them in place. I deliberately made it in two boards so that I could simplify the wiring. One feature was a turntable, which was based on the kit, and it took a little while to construct, but it does look quite good in situ. Cutting the hole was a little bit of a challenge, but once in place, the turntable turned easily and one could begin to set out the tracks leading up to it, allowing a run round of wagons behind the turntable and some storage tracks for spare locomotives when I have enough money to buy them. With the tracks down, I began the process of ballasting and installing the platforms. The wiring was done with the boards removed from the layout to make it easier to get underneath to connect them up, and it was also easier to do some of the scenery construction without having to reach over the layout. The platform's edges were a standard kit filled with cardboard and then topped with plasticard. Control panel hangs from the edge, and as we can see, the trains are able to move around from the turntable and into the yard. After a little false start, we got the direction right. This was a test run before the boards were put back in to make sure all the wiring worked and the point controls. The design for the terminus is to have 4 platforms and a small goods yard off to one side. The 4 platforms were designed to be long enough for a 3-coach train plus a locomotive. Surprising how long a double O gauge train can be. By the time you put a loco on each end, it's used an awful lot of your space. So another test run now with the board back in its final position and the Class 37 moving round the layout. And the observant of you will have noticed that this is actually out of sequence with the previous little video clip. This was before the boards were removed in order to complete the wiring. Once the track was all laid, it was a chance to get on with the scenery, ballasting the tracks, and my first scratch-built building being a station building in sort of half profile at the end using super quick paper, both for the roofs and the walls. The goods shed is a cardboard kit, which looks quite nice and fits in well with the rest of the layout, and give somewhere for the shunting activities to take place. As you can see, not the tidiest of workers with lots of bits of plastic card and stuff dumped on top of the turntable. A few movements around the yard. After this was just checking that the wagons and locomotives move happily through the track work. And testing the control panel. And so a tour of the nearly finished scenery. You can see the back scenes on the wall, the station building, and the goods shed with some wagons. The ground is slowly being completed. Over the far side we have the houses, and one of the houses has taken a bit of the railway land and built a fence around it with a bit of graffiti on it there, and we'll also have a children's playground beside the railway. So that is the terminus station, and looking back from the turntable towards the platforms.